This movie was a different type of movie, like nothing I've ever seen before. I mean, I felt it in my throat. Welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Swallow, starring Haley Bennett. Now, this film was initially released way back in January, and I didn't really bother to watch it. It was like kind of promoted as like a horror type thriller, and we all know too well that horrors that are released in January are trash. Boy, was I wrong. Before we get into what I loved about Swallow and what I felt in the pit of my stomach, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things Swallow. Haley Bennett, who was amazing in what did I just watch? Hillbilly Elegy, as Hunter. Now, we kind of already know what we're getting with Hunter. First of all, we start with lamb being sacrificed, so we kind of know what we're expecting here. But we immediately see and we're introduced to Hunter's character, and I believe we're like 5 to almost 10 minutes into the movie and she does not say a word, but we hear and see people around her, her husband, her in-laws talking, and right away we see it's like a big sense of isolation on their part as far as she's concerned. Now, we're made to understand that, you know, this is a newly married couple, and the parents just purchased a house, and they're well off, and in a sense, Hunter is out of place. Immediately, we see kind of senses of like compulsion, because she's, lining things up a certain way. In their house, there is, not a thing out of place. Everything's in its place, and they don't have a maid, even though they probably could. Which means she's there all the time, 24/7, putting things in their proper space, making everything look perfect. Hunter wants everything to be perfect so badly, but we see an underlining that something is so terribly wrong. I felt like Hunter was kind of a throwback, even though it's in modern day. She felt really 40s and 50s housewife to me. She's very there. She's a pleaser. She wants, that admiration. She wants to be noticed. But we see even with her trying to talk to her husband at dinner, or him, pushing her, hey, babe, tell them the story. She's cut off. She's interrupted. It's like she's not even there. And it kind of looks like she's a prisoner, even though she isn't, and she does have, the means to go off and work and do her own thing. It's like she's entrapped in this home. And there are certain expectations that, are expected of her that she just might not be ready for. Now, once we were made aware that Hunter is pregnant, we kind of see, the family kind of gravitate towards her, but only in the sense of we're so happy that, you're carrying on the family name. They have no caring bone in their body for Hunter. It seems like they only maybe tolerate her because she's married to their son. I feel like they have a sense of, hey, son, you maybe could have did better. There's lots of talk of wealth and my money, and lots of references to, I paid for it. This family is about money. Whereas Hunter, she just wants to be accepted. She just wants to find her place in this family. But as the tensions rise and we kind of see where she is mentally as far as, you know, her husband and longing for that warmth and that acceptance from him. She's not getting it. And she goes to find it elsewhere. Now, I wasn't very much aware of Pica. Y'all, this is such a hard movie. Like, I was not aware, because it's so easy to, you know, get horror, thriller, drama, slash suspense, and, you know, there's a boogeyman, a monster. Pica is real. And it was scary. It was very hard to look at. We first initially get, you know, her compulsion kind of happening and cravings start, you know, with ice chips at the table, as, you know, the family kind of cuts her down and interrupts her, and she's reminded yet again she doesn't have a voice. Even with her voice, it's very, you know, tamed and kind of quiet. It's almost like she's whispering. You know, pregnant. Who doesn't like, you know, a good ice chip? You know, crunch a little ice. But we have seen her from the beginning kind of marvel at these keepsakes on the table. It's just a random clear box filled with, you know, little things like seashells, marbles, and locks and things like that. Now, as she's feeling anxiety in this home alone, as we see, like, she's always alone. She's always alone. Her husband works. Is he beating her? No. Is he cheating on her? No. But is he affectionate, you know, to a certain extent? But we see, and she knows that there are certain expectations expected of her, and she just feels pressure. So then we have this marble, you know, and she swallows it. And, you know, I love the sound effects, because we hear that gulp, and it's like you're swallowing it with her, and it just seems so painful. Not for her, though. Hunter feels very accomplished that, you know, this is something that she was able to do. She wants control so bad, and wants something, you know, that makes her special, that makes her an individual. And this is her thing. She even, you know, tells her husband semi about it, you know, I'm so proud of myself. But she says, you know, it's about curtains for the movie theater. And it's not. She is all too happy that she was able to swallow and pass this marble. Now, we see more of that compulsion set in, because even though she's passing it, she's putting on the gloves to get it and wash it off, and she sits it on this little vanity. And it kind of becomes a trophy display case of, I swallowed that. Let's see what else I can swallow. We get further and further along, you know, with our pregnancy and more into the story. We still see that even though she is pregnant and she is pretending to be happy, she's faking it until she makes it, as the mom said. Her husband is still very emotionally, like, unavailable. And, you know, the family, they're the family. But we see her need to swallow things kind of intensify. Every time something intensifies with his family, making her feel out of place, she's more impelled to swallow something. And the mom, you know, makes comments, you know, why you should grow your hair. My son likes girls with long hair. Look how lucky you are to have found my son. Ooh, don't you just hate people like that? Like, I had an identity before, like, oh, you were in retail. Oh, look at you. Look at your come up. No, ma'am, don't do that. But since we did, Hunter, vacuuming the shit out of that floor, vacuums up the tax and decides to swallow it. Now, she does have second thoughts. Of course, she is pregnant, but she looks at it and she tries to swallow it and can't. And like she pierced something, because she spits up blood, and she sits it down. But we see that in Hunter's mind, it's, you know, it's a game. It's, you know, something to conquer, because we see, you know, she's obsessed with the fake Candy Crush game. But it's a game. It's something to overcome. I can swallow it if I just try hard enough. This is something I can do, and only I can do. I don't know anybody else who can do this. She goes again, and I love how they show the point. Like, I'm like, where did they get this big ass thumbtack? Like, it looks so big. But she swallowed it, and I'm telling y'all, I was hurting. Like, I was hurting like it was me. And I know that's what the director and the actors were going for. Like, you felt it. You were there with her and you were in pain. And it was horrible, but all beautiful at the same time. Like, I had never seen anything like this. I was like, this is original. We see, you know, him come home with his little drunk friends, his little posse, and we get the uncomfortable, can I have a hug guy? I was like, what? Can you have a hug? No. But we see that even though she's reluctant to hug him, she does it. And it's warming for her. It's comforting for her. To almost think, you know, wow, he wants to hug me. Who am I? I'm just Richard's wife. And you see that she's just longing for something that she's just not getting from her husband. And as that progresses, we see the objects and the size of the objects she decides to swallow increase. Not only is she eating, you know, things like paper, you know, from a book. I was like, she's eating it like it's chips. She swallows a battery. All while this pregnancy is getting further and further along. And not only are you concerned for her body and her well-being and her insides and her stomach, you're concerned for that baby. As well as your well-being, your insides and your stomach and your throat. It's painful. Whew. They go to get their first sonogram, and of course, the doctor notices, you know, something in there other than the baby in her stomach. Now, we've already got that shot of other things that she swallowed and that she's, you know, passed as trophies. Girl, it's like, you swallowed all that? You see all kinds of stuff there. But as they're, you know, doing the ultrasound, it's like, oh, okay, you know, maybe something didn't quite pass yet. But as she's getting her stomach pumped, you see multiple things being taken out. You see clothespins. You see jacks. You see, you know, the battery. You see all of these things. It's like she's been compulsive swallowing these things. Like, it's been nonstop for all of these things to be there along with the trophies that she's passed already. She swallowed a lock. She swallowed a lock. So now that everyone has officially been, you know, made aware of her secret, they react all too wrong. And it's, you know, curious to see, because this is quite more of a kid's disease more than an adult, even though it is in some adults. I'm curious to know, you know, how everyday people react to someone having, you know, something like pica. And, you know, we see things like on My Strange Addiction and stuff like that. And it's, you know, in disbelief. But the family reacts all too wrong. Now, at this point, she has been very quiet and very secretive about her upbringing, her background, her family. She doesn't talk too much of them. She just says everything's fine. But at the same time, we see none of her family throughout the film. You know, she's pregnant. We see her talk to none of her family. No phone calls, no drop-bys, nothing. But the husband overreacts. Not overreacts in the sense like, oh my God, what are you doing? You're carrying him up. That's fine. But it's, you know, what the hell is wrong with you? The wrong response. Why would you say that to her? It is clear that her, you know, compulsion to swallow these things are brought on by really bad anxiety and her feeling unequipped in the marriage and in the family. And it just pushes her to swallow even more things. So I knew what that was pushing her to do. Therapy is, of course, suggested because, you know, I'm paying for it. Sends her to therapy. And she very much wants to rush through it. And, you know, she's alluding to, you know, well, what's your background? What about your family? You know, everything's fine. My mother was great and my family was great. My sister, everything's great. Just give me some medicine and fix me so I can make him happy. That's all she wants to do this whole movie is just make him happy. She is so unconcerned for herself. It's scary. Now, scared for her in the baby, we finally start to see maybe the family giving her a little bit more of that attention that she's longing for. No. Not only do we give her the wrong attention, we hire a handler. a caretaker for her who used to, help with the Mima. My grandma, she handled her, she can help you. We keep getting comments of, we can't be here 24/7. I have to work. We have other more important things to do than sit here and make sure you're not swallowing anything that you shouldn't. Understandable. What she is doing is very dangerous, but it's a certain way to go about things. You don't go and say, we don't have time for this. He's going to be here to watch you. It's so intense that, she's followed around the house. She can barely make, dinner by herself. She gets pat downs just to go to the bathroom. And he's just as cold as the rest of the family. He's not a warm, like, hey, I'm here to do my job. If I must break you, I must break you. Like, don't swallow nothing. But we see that it has not gone anywhere. She's still pretending. Though she's saying she's okay and, she wants to move on, she wants to get help, she still has a whole secret stash of a whole Ziploc bag of things she can swallow in the bathroom. This was a hard movie to watch. I was not expecting to get so, involved. I was like, swallow. You know what? It's crazy to think what the human body can endure swallowing something. It's different when something, an outside object is being, inflicting your outside body. You are ingesting something. Like, child, I can barely chew a piece of steak. We keep getting her wanting to feel control. That's all she wants at the end of the day. She wants control. She wants to know that she's loved. She wants admiration, and she wants to give it back. She feels like she's making a little progress, and she's, throwing him cooking for his birthday party. And before the party, she lets it be known to the therapist, I wanted to talk to you about something with my mom. And she just blows it off like, oh, it's nothing. I'm like, okay. But at this party, she feels like she's, making her rounds. Everything looks good until she finds out that he's, told everyone about the pica and the disorder. And, the girl makes a comment, I might have to get my stomach pumped. And it ruins everything for her, ruins everything she thinks she's trying to do. And it was something that she had rather kept a secret. But at the same time, I understood where the husband and the family were coming from about wanting to help her and leaning on each other. And this is a family issue. We're here to help you. But there's a way to go about things without being little condescending assholes. We get a little bit more into their sex life. We had not, seen them interact very much. But we see, she's dominant. I was like, oh, that's what Richard's sticking around for, okay? She's dominant and she's, commanding there. This is like the only space in their marriage where she does have control over Richard to say, you should apologize to me for what happened and what you did. This should have stayed between us, which it should have. And, he reassures her all the time. I love you. I love the baby. I love us. I want us to be happy. You're perfect. But we see as an audience, it's not that. We see with his family and with her husband, something is not quite right. And we see it and hear it officially later on in the movie, his true feelings about his wife. Now, at this point in the movie, it takes the whole total 360. As far as, swallowing things, that it's been pretty light. She has been pretending this entire time everything is okay, and that her family, her mom, her sister, everybody's, loving, great upbringing. But she lets it be known that her father wasn't actually her father, and her existence is, courtesy of her mother being our word. And I was like, what the hell? You have been sitting on that. You have been sitting on that this entire movie. And you see firsthand how removed she is from reality to go, but everything is fine. I dealt with it. But at the same time, she has a picture of the man in her wallet that she carries around with her. She's been carrying this weight around with her physically and mentally all her life. Ain't that the truth, y'all? We're dealing with a lot of avoidance. And it's very therapeutic for her to get that out. And we see that she's kind of making progress because she's tempted, because her options are so limited now. She's actually thinking of eating dirt from the garden, but she stops herself. But going in the house, she overhears she is not even privileged enough to have privacy and confidentiality within her own therapy session. They picked this therapist just so she can, get information and tell them. Of course, this fucks her up. Of course, with everything, the husband hears, this is a product of the R word. You need to talk to her. You need to vent. She needs to talk. She needs help. Her life could be in danger. Yeah, whatever. I'll deal with that later. You want me to buy you something? This family's answer to everything is money and buying something. He leaves. A distraught Hunter goes and gets underneath the bed. She doesn't know what to do. And we see the first compassion from all people, the, brute caregiver, the overseer. He gets underneath there with her and says, you're safe. You're in a safe space. And he hugs her. He has more compassion for her as a stranger than her own husband. He sleeps. She gets up and goes frantic and swallows a mini screwdriver. Y'all, I just couldn't take anymore at that point. Like, it went from here, like, it was here mentally in my head, then it gets to the throat, and then it went and dropped to the pit of my stomach, and you feel for her so bad. But yet again, we get talks of, we can't be here with you 24/7. Everybody's upset with her and frantic and not understanding, but she's continuing to ignore her background, what happened with her mom, her actual dad, her real feelings for that, and what this really is. This isn't just something that you can clearly just stop doing because you would have done it already. But with them not being able to watch her 24/7, for the third time in the movie, they want her to voluntarily commit herself to this facility and sign these papers, even threatening, if you don't, he's getting a divorce. There's so much give and take with this movie because you completely understand where she is mentally, but you can still, even though they're disgusting, you can identify with the family wanting to protect her from herself and protect that baby. But of course, because she's not, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful, we love our little daughter-in-law. Like, no, she's like the family stain. Like, look at what you brought to our doorstep. Why did you marry her? Very uncomfortable situation, and she feels it also, which prompts her to jump out of a window and escape and run. Now, of course, the caregiver aids her in this escape, and I'm thinking maybe he gave her some money because at the end of the day, he was the only one who had compassion for her. But I was so disjointed with him. I was like, well, damn, do I want her to commit herself? Because it is dangerous. I really don't want her to go. Like, everything is just so indecisive. I loved it. She makes her way to this hotel room, this little rundown hotel. And it's here, she gets her fill for dirt. Like, we're grasping at anything right now. She calls her husband. And I knew exactly what he was going to say when she answered that phone because I had been waiting. It's like, you don't care for her. He's very, trying to bring her down, and you should come back, and we love you. It's only for 7 months. Things are going to go back to the way they were. I love you. Those lies that he's been spewing this entire movie because she knew he didn't, and we did too. At this point, he decides, to tell her what the family's thought of her all along. I'm the best you're ever going to get. Where are you going to go? You have nowhere to go. You need me. You ungrateful cunt. Boy, I swear, when white people put their little cuss words together and you get stuff like ungrateful cunt, it's serious. We get more of the husband trying to handle her instead of just listen, because she's trying to explain that, I feel like I moved a bit too fast. I wasn't my true self. I was trying to please you, with the house, with the baby. It was so many things I weren't ready for. But he takes that and cuts her down. She smashes her phone. I was like, girl, don't eat the phone. She gotta go eat the phone, right? Upon which she, checks out and calls her mom, after a night of eating dirt. And we figure out that most likely she romanticized her relationship with her family, the stepdad and her sisters, to her mom, because not only is, she sounds, a bit shocked that she's talked to her, and we know that they don't talk at all. she wants to go there, and her mom tells her, you know, well, your sister is here. There isn't any room for you. And she's practically begging on this payphone, just please, I really want to come. There's no space. We know that in therapy, her mom and her dad were not that. And this girl is literally alone. So much alone that she goes and finds her biological R word of a father. Y'all, I was like, girl, what? I can't take no more. Everything was so intense. The build here was so good. Following the story, you just didn't know what was going to happen next. And it got so interesting and so beyond the pica and her swallowing things. And you see more of her accepting something is wrong. Something is going wrong in my life. Something has been wrong. And he's probably the root. Now, this man, I cannot remember his name. I love him. He's in American Horror Story. He's a very, very good actor, as he was here. Once they're made, you know, to know who she really is, he explains to her, you know, she's like, you know, why are you ashamed of me? Why did you do that? And he tells her the same things that she's been spewing about why she's swallowing things as to why he did that to those women. It's like, you know, I felt like I was nothing. I felt invisible, but doing that gave me power. It made me feel special. Everybody thought I was normal. I was just, you know, some random man, but the whole time I was able to do this, you know, for this many times and get away with it. The same things that we've been seeing her do with those marbles, in those pens, in those objects that she's been swallowing. And she realizes indirectly they're kind of one and the same. And that was crazy, you know, to think about how often that happens and how often you can take on traits from your parents, even if they're not in your life. And he affected her tremendously, and he was nowhere around. He's, you know, completely moved past. He has a whole new family, whole new wife, a young daughter. And we're intense, you know, right there, like, is she gonna blow up his spot? She did. But we get a very emotional scene of, you know, am I like you? Say it. Tell me I'm not like you. I need to know that because I feel like I am. We're not gonna go there. We close with her, you know, finally getting what she needed. Now, we see her kind of stripped down to her bare minimum. No longer, you know, the little housewife hair and the outfits, you know, the 50s styles, wearing the little kitten heels in the house. We see her stripped down, and we see her seeking treatment and swallowing these pills. We go to the bathroom, and we end with the toilet full of blood, and it's like, I'm questioning to say, you know, is she really seeking this help, or is she still swallowing things currently, or is she just passing things that she has swallowed before, and that's, you know, the last bit of it. I'm thinking and I'm hoping that was it, and we're left, you know, with the mystery of, you know, did she consistently seek help? Did the husband find them? Did, you know, what's going to happen? Is she going to get a full life because she, you know, can't do any better? Is she finally going to prosper and blossom on her own and realize, you know, she can be her own person? It's just so many unanswered questions. Kind of like movies like that. And then sometimes I'm like, can we get like 5 more minutes? But, you know, hey. To take away, the acting in this movie was so good on everybody's part. No one was lacking. I love the atmosphere, the isolation of having that big, you know, beautiful house with the big windows, and her feeling utterly alone, even though there was so much greenery and freedom and nature all around her. I love that. I love those glimpses of red that we got, you know, in the baby room, and, you know, the walls being red, and every time, you know, she spit something up or let something out, there was red, you know, those were good, you know, it was alarming. I like the message here of, you know, acceptance and not avoiding things that may trouble you because they can follow you your whole entire life. The movie was good, y'all. The movie was good. Pica. Whew. The movie was good. It was intense, and I loved it. If you have seen the film, drop down and tell me what you thought about the film and what your favorite parts were. If you have not seen the film, go watch it. Do not wait. It is not anything to be slept on. This movie is special and it needs to be seen. Not only does it bring, you know, awareness to Pica, but it shines a light on other things. It's so many things packed into this one movie that we deal with, you know, emotion wise as children, as adults, that I know a billion people. It's easy to see something of yourself in this character. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I hope you guys come back for more. If you have yet to do so, please drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I see you guys next time.